Welcome to the WCHS PTO Podcast Connect, where we believe in empowering our teachers and championing every student who walks through our halls. I'm Jerry Purdy, your host and PTO president, and I'm here because I've seen firsthand how supporting our incredible teachers creates a ripple effect and lifts our entire community. Our mission just isn't about supporting and looking out for our own children. It's about strengthening the foundation for every student at Warsaw Community High School. When we support our dedicated teachers, provide resources for their classrooms, and participate in school-wide initiatives, we create an environment where all students can thrive. In each episode, we'll explore meaningful ways to make a lasting impact, from teacher appreciation initiatives to understanding the many school-wide programs. When we invest in our schools, we invest in every student's future, not just today, but for years to come. So grab your coffee with me, settle in, and discover how to work together to create a positive, lasting change at WCHS. Hello everyone, we're back with the Warsaw Community High School Podcast Connect, and today we have Principal and Director Bbarkey of the Warsaw Area Career Center, and we're going to talk about a lot of things today, from pathways to what's going on in the Career Center. Thank you for being here.
No, I'm really excited. Thanks for having us. I think this is a great opportunity for us, the Career Center, to share a lot of information out with parents, because even in the state of career education and graduations, it can get very complicated. We have so many cool things going on that I don't think a lot of people know all the ins and outs of everything. So this is just a great avenue to get that information out. So I really appreciate it.
Yeah, well, could you just start by giving us a brief history of how you got to this role?
Yeah, so I graduated in 1997. And when I finished my education degree, I came back and I taught 9 years at Edgewood Middle School, science and math, and at the end of my 9 years, the district wrote an innovation grant to turn Washington's elementary into a STEM school. And because I was geeking out with Lego robotics at the time in my science classes, they needed somebody that could do the content expert and help train the teachers. So I was asked to be the STEM coach at Washington, so I did that for 3.5 years. And then an opportunity to come to the high school opened up. So I had my admin license at that time, and I loved what I was doing. I was coaching golf at the time, and basically at Washington, I was playing with 3D printers and Lego robotics and a lot of cutting edge stuff with elementary kids. It was great. But at that time, it was an interim position because Mr. Snyder left to be a head principal at Whitco. So I thought, what an excellent opportunity for me to go and try a semester, see if I love it. And just like anything else, I really loved it. And so I became the assistant principal. And that was short-lived because the district wanted to turn Madison Elementary into its next STEM school. So they asked if I would go over there, and I was over there for 5 years. And then here I am back at the high school as the Career Center director. So I've loved every job I've had, every building that I've left, all the parents I've left. It's always was really, really hard, and every place I've gone, it's been great. So
well, you get to develop with them. You get to take your elementary students, and you ultimately get them at the high school. Right. So see how that works.
You know how crazy it is. This is just to age myself. When I started at Madison, the second graders are now freshmen in the building.
Oh my goodness.
That is, it's great to see those kids, because when I left, they were fifth graders going into sixth grade. So it's great seeing them here in a different capacity. And you already know a little bit about their family history and what their interests are to help them make sure that they're in the right pathway.
That's awesome. So when we talk about the Career Center, the WACC, principal and director, can you just explain what your job entails? Because I think there are a lot of us that don't understand.
Right. No. So it's a unique role. So the principal part of it is you're doing everything that a normal principal would do at a building, whether it's teacher evaluations, working with students, helping manage student learning, closing achievement gaps, everything a principal would be doing. The director part comes on because I'm probably more hands-on with industry partners and community to make sure that our pathways that we're offering here not only support our students but align to what our community needs are. So I think that's why you have a title of both. And it's great for me because you get the best of both worlds. So it's a nice fit. It's pretty great gig.
It is a great gig. So speaking of pathways, if you are a parent that's maybe listening to this early of an 8th grader or a 7th grader, or even a parent at the high school, I'm a parent at the high school going, man, what does a pathway include, and what do we need to be encouraging our students to do? Because this is new to us as parents. We didn't have that when we were in high school.
Right. We only had a couple of diplomas, right?
Yes.
I think the biggest thing that we know that we always are making sure that we're trying to get information out there is right now, when kids come in, we really focus on they need a pathway to graduate. But in the reality is a lot of our kids are taking 2 or 3 pathways. And I know just from my own personal experience being, trying to figure out what I want to do, I think picking a pathway, a career choice when you're 14, 15, 18 years old is overwhelming. And so really the message needs to be, no, you need to experience multiple pathways. And so we start at the base of we need to start one place. And we usually start that in preparing college career class, which is freshman class. But we really work hard with our guidance counselors and our PCC teachers to make sure that the kids know they can do multiples. Technically, you can start 3 pathways by the time your senior year. You can do 1 your freshman year and 2 your sophomore year. However, that might mean maybe taking some summer school or some other things or passing all your classes. But ideally, we would want kids to start a couple classes in it, or pathways. And it just depends, for example, our welding machining pathway, you can't start that until you're a sophomore for obvious reasons. It requires a more mature level of a student. However, there are pathways, like engineering, you can start when you're a freshman. So we work hard with our students and parents, and we want them to understand that you can take multiple pathways. And sometimes those pathways align really well with each other, I would say engineering and advanced manufacturing. And sometimes we have students, we have a student right now that's a welder. She's a female welder, but she's also in our culinary arts program. So you can actually do both. And what we try to tell students, if you do it right, your senior year, you're really in 1 or 2 classways or not even on campus full time. For example, the student who does culinary and welding, that's 5 periods of her 7-period day, her senior year.
Yeah.
So when you are immersed into something that you are passionate about, then you're really not going to school, which is great. You're going to learn. And that's what we try to do.
You're doing experience learning, right? So when you're looking at multiple pathways and maybe some of our kids are in a single pathway, what would we encourage them to do to get that multi-pathway integration and get a more experience-based learning?
I think really they have to be able to talk to the adults, whether it is my office. We have a Vincennes University counselor on staff full-time, guidance counselors, career center teachers to ask a lot of questions so they actually know everything that we offer. I mean, we do a lot of things that sometimes parents don't realize, like our freshman showcases and our showcase nights. I know everybody is really busy on those days, but if you are constantly going to those and having conversations with me or a guidance counselor or somebody in my office, you're going to know everything that offers. So I, as a parent, what I would say is if you have questions like, hey, my son or daughter is interested in this pathway, what else can they take? I mean, that's just always a good conversation starter because we do offer, I think, for example, our Gone Boarding class, which is in our digital design pathway, if kids and parents knew that we had a class that you could take for 3 years, that you would build from scratch a skateboard, a surfboard, a longboard, a stand-up paddleboard from scratch, from raw materials to a finished product, you would have 100 kids wanting to take it every single time. And I think typically our enrollment for those classes is anywhere between 20 and 30.
Oh, wow.
And I just don't think they know that exists. And that pathway is a perfect example. If you have a student that's interested in art, whether it's 2D or 3D, and they're not sure what they want to do, but they also like making things, that pathway is perfect for them to dabble in. So
what about the other side? They get in a pathway and they're like, this isn't what I thought. This isn't what I want to do. I think that that's an excellent opportunity as a learner to realize what you don't want to do because there's so much to do. But how do they transition out of something if it's not really a great fit for them?
Yeah, no, that's another, because there are what we would say off-ramps. The off-ramps become more complicated if they're only in one pathway and they've failed some classes and now we're really focusing on getting them to graduate. If the number one goal is to get a student to graduate because you need that pathway, they can't. They can't
They're
leave.
staying.
They're staying. Now, if they also want to dabble somewhere else, they would have opportunities to start another pathway. Okay. So it really, the first thing that we ask or determine is how old is the student, because if it is a sophomore who wants to change, easy. But if it's a junior going into their senior year and they want to change and they need that pathway, no chance.
Yeah.
Because they need it to graduate. Now, outside of that, then we would sit down and figure out what's on their schedule, what couldn't they take, what have they taken in the past, what opportunities do they have. And two, summer school is an option to open up some spaces for them to try it. Just speaking from a parent's perspective, both my kids were in multiple pathways. And one of mine, to get it all done, they had to take summer school. But it's your government and econ classes. It's classes that are important, but maybe not really a strong interest to theirs. And so for them to be work-based learning, which is a 3-period class, for them to do interior design and onboarding, you really need to take some of those classes in the summertime. But when you do that, because it's a different pace, that means your junior and senior year, you're set up for a really great schedule.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, it sounds like, you got to pick your pathway to graduate, correct?
Yeah.
And you need it to graduate, but you can supplement where you need to. It just takes communication, right? And like you said, if you're having those questions, they can call their counselor, they can call your office. Any other ways that you would love parents to communicate with you when they're struggling through these processes with their kids?
Honestly, reaching out to me and Mrs. Campbell, my assistant director. I mean, she was a teacher, high school Warsaw graduate as well. She taught 7 years in preparing for college and career, so she is also a strong expert in a lot of our pathways.
Yeah.
And I think that's the best way for us is if you have a parent that seems like, I'm not sure what the answer is, please shoot me an email because it's super easy for me to pick up the phone or email. Bbarkey at warsawschools.org or ecampbell at warsawschools.org would be a good place to start. And then whether we can funnel them or answer questions, because we have a lot of partnerships. We offer a lot of dual credit as well. And like I said earlier, one of our partners, Vincennes University, because our enrollment with Vincennes is so high, we have a counselor here every day, which is amazing for them to work with students. So we have a lot of people here, and that's something. If parents are out there like, wow, I didn't know that existed. The Vincennes University counselor is a new thing for us this year, and it's because our enrollment in Vincennes has increased. So they saw an opportunity to push in. We're the only career center with a full-time Vincennes counselor on staff, but those are a lot of things that we have within the office between my work-based learning coordinator and myself and everybody else that. The more information you have, the better. And podcasts like this really help.
Absolutely. Well, we've talked about the Career Center, and some of us might have an image that we see when we hear the words Career Center from our time in high school, right? And I have learned so much about our Career Center and just how incredible it is in the state of Indiana. Can you share maybe version 2.0 of Career Center for us?
Right. Basically career education has transitioned from in the 90s to where it is now to being state law where students need to have a pathway and need to take these classes. So we offer over 25 different pathways. Obviously you have your traditional like ag pathways, you have your construction, building trades, advanced manufacturing, welding, automotive, but you also have one of our more popular pathways is our nursing pathway. So our students, by the time they leave here, can leave with a CMA certification. So a certified medical assistant, which means that they can choose to go right into the workforce and use that certification or go on to higher ed.
Or work while they're in higher ed, right?
Yes, we do have a robust work-based learning program that we're wanting to double that size. And that we can get really deep in the weeds because we have 3 different varieties of work-based learning. Back in our day, we just called it co-op.
Yeah.
Right? And so we have work-based learning capstone, we have internship, and then we have co-op. And basically co-op is your own co-op. Like if you're working at Wendy's or Walmart or Meijer and you want to just go work, well, we have a co-op class and we partner with JAG, Jobs for American Graduates. And so in order to leave, they actually have to take the JAG class as well, which is great because JAG offers tons of scholarships to our students as well.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so they go that route. However, our students that have finished a pathway or almost finished or are the top of the top, they get entered into our work-based learning capstone class. We're actually, I know it's October, but we're starting that process now for next year. And then every kid kind of funnels in and we try to make sure that we fit everybody in. So right now, we have probably close to 200 kids that are working sometime during the day, whether it's a 1 period, a 2 period, or at the end of semester, sometimes we have kids because they finish classes go into hopefully a 4 semester working period. Wow. And some of it is based on their pathway because they've checked a lot of boxes, and some of it like co-op is, I've finished all my graduation requirements. I don't want to fill it with study hall or monitoring or an elective that I don't need. I would rather just go work and save up for X, Y, and Z. So we have 3 different off-ramps for that. And then going back to all that, we offer aviation, your business classes, computer science is really strong, culinary arts, cosmetology. So basically, We have a pathway that almost fits any kid's ideals. For example, we get a lot of time, well, I want to be a dentist. Well, you need to go in our biomedical pathway. And then if you're in your biomedical pathway and you have some classes, take as many AP high school classes that you can, but also take med term, which is a nursing class as well. So we try to get as specific as possible. Wow. So we might not have exactly what the kid wants to do, but we definitely have a pathway that is at least touches on some of that.
We have a concentration that will fit their needs in the future. That's incredible. Completely different than when we were in high school.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, I took a lot of just science classes because I enjoyed science, and I think to do it all over again, I probably would have been in Rose Love's, biomedical science class, for sure, just because of the interest that I had.
That's incredible. And I've had a number of high school students intern with me within marketing and come alongside them. And I will just encourage you, if you're a business owner and you have the capacity to have an intern, to reach out, because it is great to see them learning, but just to build relationship and encourage them.
Right, and I would also add on to that, one of the hardest things in a school setting to teach kids is soft skills, right? They've been doing school for 13 years, showing up on class on time is a soft skill. However, when you're in a working environment, there is no better place to teach soft skills than having an industry partner in work-based learning, have those kids go through that program and understand they're going to be seniors. They're not going to be perfect, but they also need to understand this is how the real world works. And work-based learning is the best place and a safe place to go through because, there's no, we work with them, we work with our partners, and it's not necessary. The learning moments aren't like, hey, you lost your job. The learning moments look a little bit different in a safer way, but it's a great place to teach soft skills. So if you're out there in the industry, in the community saying, these kids don't have these soft skills and they want to play a part in it, they need to be a partner of ours. And we have, lots of partners for our work-based learning program, but we're always looking for more as we are looking to grow it.
Especially as kids are developing new avenues in their pathways, there's going to be more of a need for community partners to step in so that they can get that capstone experience, correct?
And and I would even say, there would probably be a podcast later on, whether it's myself or Dr. Hofford or Troy or all three of us, at the start of the new year, there will be a new graduation requirement being announced, which will impact our incoming 8th graders. So everything that we're saying today might be a little bit different in January. But I can tell you there will be a huge emphasis on work-based learning, which where we're at today is decent, but we want to be able to offer our juniors and seniors more opportunities, and the only way really to do that is to have industry, community support there. And there's a lot of, unpaid, paid. There's even programs out there where the state will reimburse half of the payment, which is great. And we'll work with those people to make sure, I know Warsaw Community Schools, we hire kids to work there, and we're part of this program where the state will reimburse us half of their wages. Yeah,
it's an incredible program. Yeah. So there might be some programs that our community are familiar with because they're revenue generating for our school, right?
One of my favorites.
And they're super fun. So if you've heard of our cosmetology program or the Blue Apron, which is a part of your culinary arts and hospitality program, are there any others that I'm missing?
Another one that's revenue generating for now is our building trades. When we do a custom home, part of that is what we charge the homeowner is $3 a finished square foot to go back and put in tools and things. So that does generate some revenue that we put in. And then right now in our Industry 4.0 class, we have a lot of equipment where we're going to try to start manufacturing some things to be able to sell. Just for fun, to make it more real life, because that's what we try to do. There's a lot of career centers and a lot of equipment that is, I would say, play or practice, but our best models are revenue generating. And so Industry 4.0, for those of you that don't know, that's where robotic arms and humans work together to produce something. And so right now we have down here at the high school a piece of equipment that has a robotic arm that will load our advanced manufacturing mill and then make some item. I think right now the top winner is a yard game called Cube. I don't know if you've ever played Cube.
I've never heard of that.
What is also Viking chess is another name, but again, it's a very simple block. But just being able to manufacture some of those things and then selling them to the public is just great for kids because you're not pretending, it's actually real world. So we try to grow as many revenue generating pathways as possible because that's when it's real world.
Well, I visited the cosmetology program, which is fabulous, and it's located in the Lakeview Middle School building. I'm getting ready to go to the Blue Apron for the first time. So could you tell us maybe a little bit about those programs in depth?
And hopefully with your editing capabilities, you'll put up like the cosmetology phone number to make reservations, and maybe we can flash like, here's the services we offer.
That's right.
Not that we're, I mean, one of the growth areas, especially with cosmetology, we don't have a standalone page that people can go to. However, it is our strongest revenue generating pathway, which is great. Whereas Blue Apron's been around for a lot longer than cosmetology. It sends out a link where you can, see what's on the menu, and you can make reservations. We're not quite there yet. So for cosmetology, call, make an appointment. You can even walk in, but I think it's easier probably to call, make an appointment. If you're looking at Lakeview from the road, it's door 5, and you'll see a little cosmetology sign. You'll get buzzed in, and you'll go right into our salon. And we have, in the afternoons is when our seniors, so they are, is it Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I believe, or Tuesday, Thursday, Friday is when the salon is open for now. Once Christmas is over break, the seniors will be 4 days a week. So this is also what's great to talk about with parents is the seniors, they'll start at noon and they go to 4:30.
Wow.
Yeah, the juniors, they start at 8 o'clock and they go to noon. So the juniors, it's 5 periods out of 7 your junior year, which means these kids, when they're sophomores, will declare to their counselor, I'm interested in cosmetology, which is great. The hard part is we have like 30 kids that sign up and we take 15 to 17
It's competitive.
kids.
Yeah.
It is competitive. So the sooner we know, we can work with those kids saying, hey, listen, if you have excessive tardies or unexcused absences or your grade GPA averages here, you're not even going to make it to the interview process. And we want to get to those kids sooner because we do recognize kids that turn their high school world around a little bit when they are having some desire. So we will really look at was their growth from freshman to sophomore year. But yeah, they can go in there and get services. And if you're looking, this haircut, this was Friday by one of the cosmetology students. And it's great because not only when you pay for a service, you're supporting that program, but you're also, the kids need human people to work on for their certifications. So by the time seniors leave, they'll have 1,500 hours in cosmetology. They will have completed all their services, which there are
A lot.
a lot
There are a
of
lot.
services. Yeah, and they'll take their licensing exam and they'll be certified cosmetologists by the time they leave. Wow. And if the kids would go into private cosmetology school, I think the price for private cosmetology school is like $25,000.
Whoa.
And through us, all they have to do is pay for their clippers and materials, which in 2 years is about $1,200 depending on things. So that's a huge cost savings.
That's a huge savings. That's incredible. Yeah. And being able to go out and start right away is amazing.
Right.
That's incredible. So Blue Apron, I just loved getting the tour of Blue Apron and seeing just how big it is. I don't think people understand how robust that program is.
Yeah, so we can seat about 60 people. We're open on Tuesdays and Thursdays. It seems like every year I've been here, the days have shifted a little bit just based on what our schedule is. But this year it's Tuesday and Thursday. Right now, like last week, you had to make a reservation to get it.
Wow.
It was just that busy.
Exclusive.
It is, no. And also it gets really, really busy. So if we have a huge rush, so the way we run the Blue Apron, sometimes this is their first time ever serving somebody. So these are students that are in the Blue Apron that are either first year in the Blue Apron or second year in the Blue Apron, and you can tell by the color of the coat. So if somebody is wearing a red coat, if you zoom in right here, these are our second years. That means these group of kids were first years last year, and that's a 3-period block. That means this second year, their senior year, it's another 3-period block, but now they're leaders. And inside the Blue Apron, in terms of like how does that look in terms of instruction, we have 7 stations, and each leader has a couple of first years on their group, and they rotate through 3 weeks at a time.
Oh, wow.
So last week was our first new 3-week rotation. So if you came Tuesday, that might have been the first time that kid has ever served you, because that's one of our stations as a server. And then you go back and we have dessert, and that's a station. And if you're a senior leader, you get to make the specials for the dessert. So we always have creme brulee, and we always have cheesecake on the menu, but there's always one complete unique special that senior works with our teacher, Chef Bragg. And I think this one is like a strawberry shortcake kind of dish. Nice. And then the cheesecake is never just original, the same thing that lead student gets to work with chef on, like, is it a turtle cheesecake? Is it a raspberry swirl? Is it a key lime pie cheesecake? We've seen tons of varieties.
I feel like I need to come back every rotation just
You
to
should.
check all of the cheesecakes.
You
I
need
can be
to.
quality control.
Yeah, well, and then you go into chef's line, and chef's line is very similar to desserts, but there you are in charge of the special. So we have things on the menu that are always on the menu, but then we also have specials. So I believe this week's special is something with a breakfast kind of motif, and again, those senior leaders work with chef to put that. They price it out so make sure we're making revenue, so we're not losing anything. And then you rotate through to a salads, which is a station, and then everybody's station, that's a favorite, is dishes. So I have to go and do dishes for 3 weeks.
Right.
But our dishwasher, again, our central office supports all our programs really well. It's a new dishwasher, and so it's like $40,000. It's really expensive, but we can do like hundreds of dishes really quickly. Something we need in our house. Right?
Yeah, I was
you
gonna
just
say,
rinse it
I
off.
like
You
that.
just throw it in. Now, the old dishwasher we had was 30 years old.
Oh, wow.
So we were just due. This used to be the old freshman high school, and so that where the Blue Apron is was the cafeteria at the time. So in the back, that's why it's set up perfectly to be able to handle all of that. And then my favorite station is family meal. And because these kids are working during their lunch, they don't get lunch. And so the way it works is the seniors come in first. Their period's 3, 4, 5. And the second year or the first years are 5, 6, 7. And so when the seniors are leaving, somebody at that station has already prepared their lunch for them. And they just go grab, fill up their plate. And it's great food. It's not, it's food that experts have prepared. And so what was it last time? This is underselling the greatness of this station, but it was corn dogs and waffle fries. But I've had anything from like a pork roast to lasagna to chicken and waffles. And I say I have because when I know the restaurant's open, I know
That's also your lunch?
I can just go back to the family station and grab their food, and so it's kind of a running joke when I show up. But that's great because then the kids can go and have that food and then go to class, and then when the first years are all done, they go. And so I think it's really neat to have 4 or 5 kids making food for 25 kids with because chef is running the restaurant and making sure that all the food's getting prepared. So you have kids in the back making lunch for 25 kids.
That's incredible.
Touching base, but they're just doing it all on their own.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah.
So there are a number of ways that you can get involved and engaged in our Career Center. If you can't have an intern or do the work-based learning, you can always come support them and eat some cheesecake with me.
Yeah.
But as we're thinking about all of the areas that you touch, one thing that I want to make sure that we communicate is how can we as a community support you and the teachers and the instructors that are engaging with our students?
I think we've touched on a lot of it already. The biggest support is if you're interested in helping growing the next generation of workers, reach out to me and I'll put you in contact with our work-based learning coordinator, because as things change at the state level with new diplomas, it's a great opportunity to get to work alongside a student. 2, come and support our programs that are revenue generating, because the way I say it is you're kind of giving back. Your dollars are threefold. 1, when you come into the Blue Apron or cosmetology and you buy lunch, you're allowing that student to practice the skills to make your lunch, but also the dollars go back into buying more supplies for those kids anyways. So it's just a great opportunity for them to practice those skills, so your dollars kind of get stretched just a little bit farther along with cosmetology. And 2, we have to buy supplies, and locally a lot of our cosmetology supplies comes locally, and same thing with our food. So that's also another way. In terms of as a parent coming in to support, just ask a lot of questions and try to learn everything you can about the Career Center and spread the information, because I think just like I know with parents, there is a stigma out there, like you have to pick a pathway, and really we are constantly trying to market. We actually can pick multiples. The reason why you hear a pathway, because it deals with graduation requirements, but when you build your schedule, you can take multiple pathways, and they can be clear across the spectrum, or they can be closely aligned, and it really is up to the students. And I think all of us can agree, like it's not school when you are wanting to learn that. So the opportunities to learn multiple things might come at a cost where you might have to take a class or 2 in the summer, but that might open up your junior, senior year for really not being on campus much at all. Like my daughter, she'll be on, after Christmas break, will be on campus just for 3 periods.
Wow, yeah. It really does give them flexibility and an opportunity to do that learning based.
And we want that for all kids, not just like the high ability kids or anything. We really want that experience for all kids, because as we go through our work-based learning selection process, and we do look at a lot of data. But for example, our nursing students will outcompete academically our automotive students on paper, right? But we have to make sure that when we're picking students that we diversify enough. So even though, so when we do work-based learning, it's not like the top GPA students get in. We basically allocate, of our nursing students, and we have tons of them, we have 9 to 10 spots. So and that's another thing, within our pathways, you're competitive amongst your peers, but you're not competitive amongst other pathways. We are the orthopedic capital of the world. We want as many machinists to do work-based learning as possible. And that's the other thing, is sometimes we make decisions here to help students and industry partners at the same time. So
it's good to know.
But it's also a good lesson, because you got to be competitive, and you got to, show up on time, work really hard.
World,
it is
right?
It is what's great. Yeah, it's the real world, and that's what we try to replicate. In our office is constantly having conversations, and we take a lot of pride into finding ways to continue to grow our students and hold them accountable so they are ready.
That's great. Well, we appreciate your time today. We appreciate all of the information. Like you said, we'll be back hearing more information about the new graduation requirements in the new year. But thank you for all you do. And we just appreciate the way that you lead our students, and we wish you the best.
Right, yeah, anytime. I would love to, we can even have some meetings where we just talk about a couple pathways and everything. We can dive into a few clusters at a time to help parents really understand, so they can come back, because that's the biggest thing that we're trying to face, is getting information out. Again, thanks to the PTO too for investing in us and doing everything that you guys are doing.
It's an honor.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
Thanks for joining me on the WCHS PTO podcast, Connect. Follow Warsaw Community High School PTO on Facebook and Instagram to stay informed about ways to help our teachers and staff and support all our students. Your involvement today helps create a stronger school for years to come. There you will find weekly updates on school events, PTO meetings, and ways to get engaged. Remember, our impact extends far beyond our own families. It touches every student who enters these halls, now and in the future. We can't wait to see you next time. Join us for the next episode of WCHS Podcast Connect.